Is this working? This thing on? All right, let's talk about one of the best, wait, no, the best decade in history, the 90s. There's a reason why you hear so many references to this great era. So let's discuss what makes the 90s so special and what it was like to grow up during a time without the internet, cell phones, or computers, but also talk about how we had a front row seat to the beginning of the future. So, what makes 90s so special, anyways? Well, first of all, the pure nostalgia from our childhood. Now, every generation will tell you that theirs was the best because it takes them back to a time of pure joy and innocence. But there was something truly special about the 90s, like the music. The 90s was home to the best music from all genres, Backstreet Boys to Tupac to Garth Brooks to Nirvana. We had music videos on MTV. We rode our bikes to the record store to purchase albums and enjoyed the full experience of looking through the physical booklet of artwork and lyrics while listening to the album track by track. It was an incredible experience that cannot be replicated to this day. Even going home and tearing off the sticker and the packaging, it was a nuisance, but it was worth it. What about the movies like Titanic, Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, Silence of the Lambs, or Wayne's World? We would rent VHS tapes from Blockbuster or just beg our parents to drop us off at the local movie theater with our friends. Speaking of friends, how about TV shows like Friends, Seinfeld, Full House, and The Simpsons? We got excited for TGIF and had to watch our favorite shows in real time without a way to watch them later on demand because that's just the way it was. We had amazing video games, so Atari was replaced by Nintendo, and Super Mario Bros. Was the greatest video game on the planet. Sega Genesis and Sonic the Hedgehog joined the party shortly thereafter. Then came the first ever Sony PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Sega Dreamcast. We also enjoyed things like rollerblades, Nerf battles, Super Soakers, Ninja Turtles, slap bracelets, Legos, Lincoln Logs, Slinkies, Pogs, and the list goes on. Things got a little weird too. We had Clear Pepsi, Surge and Jolt Cola, Root Beer Milk, Moon Boots, Beanie Babies, Furbies, and these digital pets called Tamagotchis. We wore oversized Jinko jeans or corduroys. We had light up LA Gear sneakers, flannel or bum equipment sweatshirts, and we had bowl cuts, flat tops, perms, or frosted tips. That, my friend, that was the 90s. So what about growing up without the internet, cell phones, or a computer? What was that like? Well, think about not having the internet. Not just for an hour or a day, but ever. My generation used the card catalog and Dewey Decimal System to find books at the library. Google did not exist. We wrote book reports by hand with a number 2 pencil and paper. We sent letters by mail because You've Got Mail was not a thing yet, although we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now throw away your cell phone. Get rid of it. If we wanted to call our friends or a crush from school, we either did it from a landline, after memorizing their phone number, of course, or we just showed up at their house and we hoped they were home. We passed handwritten notes in class because text messaging was not even our vocabulary yet. So what did we do instead? We played outside with our friends. Yeah, capture the flag tournaments. We built forts. We had trampoline sleepovers, bike ramps. We caught bugs, went to the local pool or skating rink. And the adventures were endless when we truly embraced our imaginations. Oh, and we drank from the garden hose when we got thirsty. So along came the future. We were there for the first ever PC. We probably played Oregon Trail on it. We remember when Windows 95 came along and revolutionized computing forever. We even had physical disks as storage and sometimes needed to take the ball out of the mouse and clean it off. We plugged the landline phone cable into our computers and we logged in a dial-up internet for the first time. We even remember what the exact sound was like coming from the modem. Yeah. So when AOL or America Online came around, we had to pay for web browsing by the minute. There was no such thing as social media, streaming, or YouTube. We had chat rooms and AOL Instant Messenger, or AIM as we called it. What about smartphones? Nope. At one point, we did have pagers that were replaced by Nokia cell phones the size of a brick that were way too expensive to use, so we just played Snake on them instead. Years later, MySpace became a thing. I remember thinking, I don't want to put my name and picture on the internet. What is this? Well, look at us now. So by now, you might be thinking to yourself, why is this random old guy just reminiscing about the past from 3 decades ago? Well, as you can tell from my walk through nostalgia lane, the 90s will always hold a special place in so many of our hearts. Oh, and by the way, this is fully unedited, raw and real, just like the 90s. Now get off my lawn, or just scroll to the next video.